Hi, this is Derek Ralston from Photography by Derek Ralston, here to talk to you about an issue that I hear about quite a bit on the forum, and that's focus calibration. How can I tell whether or not my particular lens and camera combination are focusing properly? There are a lot of DIY solutions out there on the net that purport to be able to tell you whether or not your camera is focusing properly. Most of them fail miserably. Let me show you what I use. I use the LensAlign Pro from rawworkflow.com, and the reason I use this is there are some critical things that you need to be able to get into alignment in order to properly check to see whether or not your camera is focusing. The first is you need a high contrast target. That high contrast target can be black and white normally, and that's what this has, and that's what most of the DIY solutions have. But in order to properly tell whether or not you're in focus, you need to have this focus target dead parallel to the sensor. That means on both the X and the Y axis, it has to be perfectly aligned with your sensor. And this target needs to be 25 times the focal length away from that sensor as the focal length of your lens. So for longer lenses, you're talking a pretty good haul to get this thing out here in order to take a picture of it. And to get it perfectly aligned is almost impossible with the DIY solutions. What this uses is a sighting system that you sight through back to your camera to get a rough idea whether or not you're aligned, and then you sight back with the camera to a very small dot on the back plate back here, and when you get that perfectly centered inside the window, this is absolutely dead parallel to the sensor. That is absolutely essential to be able to tell you whether or not your lens is focusing properly. The other is you need a focus indicator. That focus indicator has to be perfectly perpendicular to that target. Once this is aligned, this is automatically aligned. All you do is close the gate, take a picture, and it will show you where your depth of field falls. Now, what is proper focus? Most technicians will tell you that proper focus is achieved when you focus on this point and your depth of field, 1/3 of it falls ahead of the point and 2/3 of it falls behind the point. That's why with focus failures, most of them show back focus because most of the focus is biased towards the back anyways. If you have one of the modern cameras, there's a micro adjustment feature in that camera that you can take it, shoot this, throw your lens with your particular lens, make all the adjustments you need, and you are great. But for those of you who do not have a micro adjustment feature on your camera, what do? You send your lens in to the service center and you get it calibrated, and that'll take care of it. I get my lenses calibrated about once a year at the Canon Service Center. They do go out of alignment. They are electromechanical devices, they have moving parts, they have servo motors, and they don't stay in alignment. They're moving a lot of glass around and a lot of parts around, and they do go out of alignment. So if you're having problems and you check it with this, what good does this do? This tells you whether or not you're having a problem. And if you take a picture of this and send it into the service center, the techs will both love you and hate you because you'll have a proper adjustment target done, so they'll be able to tell what needs to be done before they throw it on their optical bench. It will tell them whether or not there's a difference between their optical bench and your camera, and it will also tell them that you're pretty picky about focus, so they better get it done right. Like I said, a great tool. It's not cheap, but then again, if I try to build this tool with the exacting specifications that it has, I can do it, but it's going to take me a few hours in my shop. I'd rather just shoot a discount portrait session and just pay for it in an hour than I would for spending 4 or 5 hours in my shop trying to build something that may or may not work as well. Highly recommend it. About $170 now. I got a good deal on this one because I got them when they first came out, but still at $170, well worth it. LensAlign Pro from rawworkflow.com. Get it, check your camera lenses, and it'll save you a lot of headaches. See you on the forums.